freaking first cut. Golly.
Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your round one recap for the Olympic Games. Joining me to break it all down, Kyle Porter is here. KP, have you enjoyed your Olympics thus far?
I have, although I don't know that I enjoy being back on that Open Championship 7 hours ahead schedule. That's like a 1 week a year deal, and now we're doing it 2 out of 3. It's been a little jarring, but the Olympics they've been amazing. I've loved all of it. I think the golf on Thursday was kind of surprisingly good. I still am an advocate for the team stuff, but yeah, it's been overall the Olympics. Our kids have been into it. It's been awesome.
Yeah, that's cool and right. We kind of broke that down earlier this week about how probably should be more of a team aspect, but with what we've got, 72 holes of stroke play going, just as good as we can expect. And let's jump right into this because there's a lot of notables to get to. We'll work our way up the leaderboard, and we're going to start with Rory McIlroy. He's currently in a tie for 14th. He shot a 3 under 68 KP, but that does not nearly tell the whole story because there are lots of circles and there are lots of squares on this card. He made the turn in 3 under thanks to an eagle on the par 5 9th, and then gave 2 shots back on 10 and 12 before getting himself onto a string of birdies at 13, 14, and 15 before, of course, leaving a little bit of a sour taste in his mouth by bogeying the final hole of the day. So all in all, good score, beats the field average by nearly 2 strokes. But man, there was a lot of firepower that Rory showed today.
Yeah, there was. And I think, you look at the card and you're like, yeah, it's good. It's not amazing, but it's a good start for Rory. I think the disappointment comes in when you look at how well he's been playing over the last 2 or 3 months, and you look at, you think, oh, PGA Championship type setup. And look, like the course was pretty easy today, right? It wasn't playing. It wasn't playing. And we predicted this. We talked about this. It wasn't playing to the level of the Ryder Cup or especially the French Open, right? It was just kind of cut down and you could get around. So I think from that perspective, it's maybe a little disappointing, but I don't know. Like he's very live, like he's very much in it. It didn't take him out of it or anything like that. I think it was fine. I think it was like about middle of the road for what to expect from Rory.
5 birdies and an eagle, offset by 4 bogeys to shoot that 3 under 68. He lost a stroke and a half or so on the putting surfaces, in at 3 under. 3 notables I want to get to at the 4 under score. That's 4 under 67. And we're going to start with Jon Rahm, who seems to be finding a little bit of momentum late here in the calendar year. He goes out and he eagles number 3. That is a par 5. He makes the turn in 1 under, and he himself has a bit of a volatile day on the back, which is what you see at Lake Off National because there is water in places. He goes on a stretch where he birdies 12, birdies 13, eagles 14, and then hits it in the water on 16, ends up making a double bogey there. So he is not fully sharp, not the sharpest Jon Rahm we've ever seen, but the game has been trending now for the last couple of starts.
Yeah, the 3-3-3-3 run on the back was pretty sweet. I thought he looked like he wanted to eat the Eiffel Tower after he made that double at 16. Did you see him?
Yeah, he was. It was as from this time the ball went off his club face to the time it had landed in the water, he had already trudged back to the bag, slammed the club, had a the millisecond it came off the club face, he knew it was horrible.
That's true. It was about as mad as a human being can look without cursing aloud. Maybe he did. I don't know. It didn't get picked up, but he just looked like he wanted to let loose a string of words that would not have been appropriate for people under the age of 15, 10. I don't know. I mean, he played well, right? Like I think, and I expected him to play well. He's just been better over the last month. I don't know why necessarily. I think he would say, "Oh, I'm just playing the way I play. I've played like this all year." And it's like, I don't know. Maybe like the live results have been decent, but you're John Rahm. You're not Cam Smith. You're not Joaquin Niemann. Like, you're generationally good. I'm still long term big believer in Rahm, and I think winning a gold medal would be very meaningful for him and for his career, especially given the year that he's had. And he's in a pretty good position. I think he's like third or fourth in the betting odds right now.
Yeah, he's proven himself to be a little bit of a golf historian, so I think you would understand and relish the opportunity to win a gold medal. He has 4 shots off the lead, so a little bit of a spoiler alert, won't tell you who, but the lead is at 8 under, still at that 4 under 67 number. Tommy Fleetwood was bogey free around Le Golf National, which is probably not much of a surprise. He was excellent here with Francesco Molinari in 2018 at the Ryder Cup, and Tommy is in the midst of a very, very good year. But stop me if you've heard this before, KP. No wins to show for it.
Yeah. I'm a little surprised that he played so well. You're right. Like, he's playing great this year. He doesn't have any great tournaments since the Masters, right? He's played good, but he hasn't been great. And so I'm interested. You weren't on Tuesday, but I had Victor Hovland over Fleetwood in a matchup. Now Victor's 3 down to Fleetwood after the first round, but I don't. Are you buying Fleetwood even after the 67?
Oh boy.
I guess
I'm not selling him. I'd just be like holding him. You know what I mean?
Are you buying him as a potential contender for a medal?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know that I am either. But I don't know. I mean, it was a great start. This is the start that I expected at the Open, not at Le Golf National.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's inside the top 25 in all 4 of the major strokes gained categories. He did not make a bogey, as I mentioned. There's just a lot of names here. It just stinks. Like Tommy, yeah, I don't know. I don't have a reason to be excited about Tommy, but I don't necessarily have a reason to be uninspired by his play on Thursday.
I know. I'm with you. I don't know. I'm not totally sure what to do with it. I think it's problematic for him that the names tied with him or ahead of him are Rahm, Scheffler, Hideki, and Xander. Like that's gonna be problematic.
It is gonna be problematic.
So I don't know. We'll see. Like, he's a little bit of a wait and see for me right now.
Scottie Scheffler, as you mentioned, also shot a 67, also did it bogey free. He got off to a hot start, KP, 2 under through his first 3 holes and 3 under by the time he made the turn. It was just 8 pars and 1 birdie coming in for Scottie, who, if you look at his statistical profile, was 9th in strokes gained off the tee, was 8th in approach, and then he struggled a little bit in the short game categories, a little bit worse than average around the green, a little bit worse than average with the putter. So Scottie Scheffler doing what he does everywhere in the world, doing it again this week in Paris.
Yeah, perfect spot. He had a long putt on, what was that? 9?
The putt he made on 9 was
maybe it was for par. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, but he did like, I think, the putting numbers, they were not great, but it kind of, you have to watch, and this is the hard part about talking about this, is you have to see every putt to know, like, okay, but he did save from like 50 feet, whatever. I think he's in a perfect spot. I think his problem, Rick, is Xander. Like, I think his Scottie's problem as it relates to the gold medal is the guy that beat him at Troon, the guy that beat him at Valhalla. And I think Xander's on that, and I know we'll talk about him, but I think he's on that Spieth in 15, Jason Day in 2015, 2016, JT in 2017. He's on his version of that right now. He's in the middle of it. And it'd be cool if it came down to both of them, right? Like, if they were the 2 in the final pairing on Sunday. But I think Scottie's in like a really, really good spot after the first round.
Yeah, right in the mix. And there are some problems at the top of the board. We are going to talk about them and discuss the path to the podium. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners. And we're back. Now, there are a lot of implications this week. No money on the line, KP, but there's a lot more for someone like Tom Kim, who is representing South Korea. So Tom Kim, 5 under 66. We'll talk about the golf first. A bogey-free 66. He turned in 32, and then similar to Scottie Scheffler, just 8 pars and 1 birdie coming in. In fact, his last 10 holes were 9 pars and 1 birdie. Tom Kim is in a very interesting position. Any medal, and we've talked about this at other games. I think there's the Pan American Games or the Asian Games offer this as well. Any medal for Tom Kim would relieve him of his 20-month military duty for South Korea. That is a service that we have seen derail, quite honestly, some professional golf careers. Sung Yul No, the guy that I think about most, who just was great, went over, did his military service, and has not been the same. So Tom Kim has a lot on the line, maybe even more so than some of these other guys do.
Yeah, Sangmoon Bae, I would throw in there as well.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Tom Kim is, what is he, 21, 20?
He's quite young.
I think he's 21. I think he just turned 21. I'm curious about how much he's thinking about this, because I think it's 35 is the number, or 33, or
35, 18,
35.
Anywhere between 18 and 35. And he just turned 22. So you're right. He is, he might not be thinking about this at all, because he's got a dozen years to figure this out.
Well, and look, I thought the most underrated story of last year was Sungjae and Siwoo winning the Asian Games last year.
Right.
The reason it was underrated and underreported is because it happened about the same time as Rory was going insane on bones in a parking lot in Rome. Right. It was like Saturday, Sunday of the Ryder Cup. And but Siwoo and Sungjae, they did this essentially. So the deal is you have to win a medal at either the Olympics or I think it's called the Asian Games. That might be.
No, I think you're right. They are called the Asian Games. That is, yes.
And they did that. And Tom Kim talked about that. He addressed this in his pre-tournament deal. And he mentioned offhand, this was kind of in passing, like they might revert to just amateurs in the Asian Games. So this could potentially be like one of the main, if not the main storyline on Sunday, right? I didn't see what Ben On shot. I don't think he's +1, so he's probably out of it. But yeah, this is a big deal. And Tom Kim's been playing pretty good golf. So I'm really interested to see how this plays out the next 3 days.
Yeah, he's right now he would be in a playoff for the bronze medal.
Can you imagine?
Oh my God.
Just asking Emiliano and Joaquin to just take a dive so he can continue his career.
It's wild. It's wild.
Crazy.
Yeah, Emiliano Grillo, Joaquin Niemann are also in that T3 position. I want to talk about Niemann a little bit more, KP. He has been, just statistically, and if you want to weight the stats, you can do it. But, statistically, he's been one of the best players in the world, probably top 5 or top 6 in 2024. He has cooled off just a little bit as we've gotten into the summer, but he's off to a great start here. The only bogey that he made was on the final hole of the day. It was on number 18. And as of right now, as I'm just kind of scrolling through the top of the leaderboard. Niemann is T3, Rahm is T6, and I'm not seeing another. Okay, Carlos Ortiz is T14. What I'm getting at is there's not a lot of live representation at the top of this board, but it is being represented by what are probably two of their four best players this year.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. My live feelings are complicated, and we don't need to get into it. I like Niemann. I think this would be very cool. I don't think it'd be cool if he took a medal from Tom Kim, but I do think it'd be cool if he did medal. He's a really good young player, and this is a big stage for him. Especially, I think it would be less so if he was still on the PGA Tour, because there's so many opportunities to be on that stage. Not this big, but tantamount, similar to. But yeah, this is a massive spot for him. I think I want to push back a little bit on, has he statistically been one of the 5 or 6 best guys this year? I don't know that he has.
Well, I know definitely early in the year he was, because he rattled off. I think he rattled off like a couple of Asian victories and a couple of live golf victories, and that's kind of what got him that special invites into some of the major championships. I thought for a while he was like a 2 per round golfer. I know he has cooled off, so that might not still be the case. He might. I mean, what would you think he is? Top 10?
I would say I'm gonna pull up data golf. I just pulled it up since January 1. I would say strokes gained, he is like 11th.
Okay, and they are weighting them, right?
They are weighting them.
Yes. Okay, so that feels about right then.
Okay, so he is 7th.
Okay,
so that's higher than I would have thought. I thought he had cooled off more than that. The top 10 data golf strokes gained since January 1. This includes live, for all the haters and losers out there. Scottie's number 1, Xander's number 2. No surprise. Can you name 3, 4, 5?
Oh boy. In Scott, so you have Scottie, Xander, Colin and Rory have to be in there in some capacity.
That's 3, 4, but it's Rory and Colin.
Okay. This is where it gets hard. It could be Ludwig.
So
Bryson.
Bryson's 6.
Okay. So I'm missing 5.
You're missing number 5. Little surprise. I'll say this: 4 of the 2, 3, 4. 4 of the next. 4 of the top 10 are live boys. Rahm's 5. Bryson 6. Niemann 7. And then you go Ludwig, Hatton, and Henley.
Hatton's been awesome.
Yeah, he has. He's number 9. Well, this is even more surprising. Louis Oosthuizen's 11.
Yeah, he's been really good.
And then you go Hideki, Cantlay, Bezadenhout, your boy Corey Connors, Fleetwood, Burns, Finau, Sahith, JT. JT's number 20. So, yeah, I mean, that's I'm like, I think Joaquin is a little bit emblematic for me of like, I'm a little surprised that there's 4 of the top 10 that are live, and that Joaquin, he started off great. The first 2 months were awesome. I have not, I guess, maybe kept up with him since then. So I'm a little surprised that he's still that high.
Yeah. The live player pool seems to be getting incredibly top heavy. You're getting 4 of the top 10 players in the world and almost nothing else.
Yeah.
But Niemann is in that mix.
You know who stinks now?
Who's that?
Cam Smith.
Dude, there are some guys where I look through. Okay. I mean, I don't know. Cameron Tringale stinks.
Yeah. Well,
but you know what I mean? Like, I know I'm not comparing like Cam Smith, who's won multiple times, to a guy who has never won, but there are just guys that are just completely irrelevant. But Cam Smith kind of stinks.
Brooks is 48th since January 1.
Yeah.
Spieth is 62nd.
Spieth stinks. They all stink. They all stink.
Yeah, it's interesting to. It's hard to hide from those numbers. We get caught up in data over the course of like 18 holes or even a tournament, and you're like, you can make it say some different things. It's hard to hide over 9 months or 8 months or whatever it's been. And I think that those numbers tell a story of like, yeah, this is kind of who you've been this year. It doesn't mean that's who you are for your career, but that's a good thing if you're Joaquin Niemann.
Yeah. The two at the top. Let's start with Xander Schauffele. 665, just continues his absolute dominance of golf courses. He made 7 birdies, and none of them were back-to-back. So he birdied every odd number hole on the front. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Then he birdied 12 and 14 before giving one back on 17. You have just described this as his Jordan Spieth 2015 moment. He is certainly making a very strong case for like the guy of 2024, which felt impossible based on what Scottie Scheffler did for the first 5 or 6 months.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was watching him today. I watched his back nine, I guess, and it just looks easy. Like every shot just looks very simple for him. And I know it's not. I know it's stressful. I know he's thinking about a million things, but it just looks easy. And he's swinging it great. I think that was the thing about this round. You shoot 65 and you're like, I mean, yeah, like what do you expect? Like that's where Scottie was probably more so in that stretch, March, April, May, right? Where you're like, yeah, he shot 65. Like that's just kind of what he does. And that's how I feel about Xander right now. So he's definitely turned it up a little bit. It's been super impressive. And man, 2 majors, 2 golds, that'd be pretty big time. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, he is trying to defend a medal. Now, obviously, golf has not been around very long. This is only going to be the 5th time, and there are some weird stories about the first couple editions. But successfully defending a gold medal in golf would be kind of nuts.
Where do you stand on? I mean, it's a small field, right? The bottom is bad. The bottom third is bad. I don't know that the bottom half is necessarily bad, but it's just it's an OWGR event that there's not a lot of respect paid to in terms of from a point standpoint. I think I once compared it to the American Express. Obviously, I'm not like from a difficulty perspective.
Of course you did.
Well, I mean, the numbers are the numbers. I don't know what you want me to say, but I think to hear these guys talk about it, it's like, no, there's a weightiness here. There's a heaviness here that is obviously different than the American Express or the Valspar or whatever. Where do you stand on all that with the Olympics?
Yeah, it is definitely gaining momentum.
Yeah,
it is gaining respect. It is and that is only accomplished by having at least some or many of the top players there. And that's what they've gotten. That's what Tokyo, even with COVID pushing it back a year, was a stronger field. Remember, people were opting out of it in 16, which was kind of weird. But now it's starting to feel like that would be crazy if somebody was to kind of opt out of it just because they did not want to play in the Olympics. And it's only been a couple of editions, but with 4 years in between, it's definitely. And also, like, let's be real, when there are only 4 events that matter, and then Ryder Cup, President's Cup, like the Olympics have an opportunity to step into this role of being above the fray, right? They do not have to deal with the week in, week out garbage that goes around professional golf. They can be above the fray. And I think that is starting to bear out.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. I still need a team portion. You can keep the individual, like keep it. I think Fleetwood said this, like, yeah, have the individual, but also like, tack on a team thing. And to hear Jason Day and Minwoo Lee, and there are different guys today that were like, I was overwhelmed. Here's Jason Day. He said, I was just saying a little bit earlier, this is probably the most nervous I've been wearing a set of clothes. I probably would have been more nervous wearing some of that Malbon stuff that he's been wearing, but that you look down and see the colors. The first couple of holes caught me off guard, actually. I was quite a lot. I was quite nervous standing over the first tee shot. It took me a few holes to get over it. That's this is the most I've felt nervous standing on a tee box wearing a set of clothes that I'm wearing for the first time. That's a cool thing, you know, and he's somebody that ejected in 2016, didn't make the team in 2021. I think it was Leishman and Cam Smith for Australia. So it's we can argue all day about like, oh, well, the OWGR points and like it says it's this hard to win or whatever. That doesn't mean it's not a big deal.
Yes, and it will actually, as I was thinking about that, I think they're probably going to have to move away from OWGR being the way to get in, because that's
rickrungood.com.
Sure. Yeah, I'll offer up my services.
Yeah, I mean, you create a partnership with the IOC and you'd probably be a billionaire. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, they do spend money in a lot of weird ways. I just got to get one of those contracts.
It's like NBC, Visa, and rickrungood.com.
Love it. I can't imagine anything that could possibly go wrong with that. I couldn't imagine anything going possibly wrong with Hideki Matsuyama's round, and it didn't. An 8 under 63, a 2-shot lead after 18 holes. This was magnificent. Birdies at 2 and 3, then a 4-pack, 7, 8, 9, and 10. How about 2 more at 13 and 14? And KP, this was pretty vintage Hideki. Missed only 3 fairways, missed only 2 greens, gained over 2 strokes on approach, and then rolled it beautifully when he got to the putting surface. Picked up 3 strokes to the field there, second in the field in putting. Hideki is going for a medal.
Yeah, this would be awesome, especially after he missed out on bronze in 2021.
He was in the
I said this on HQ earlier. I think he's the one guy, or he's one of the few guys where I think you look at this board and you're like, yeah, I know what it says, but the only names I see are Xander and Scottie, right? And you could throw Rahm in there given how well he's played recently, but I think Hideki's dangerous at the top. You know, he especially on a course like this where it's like if he's locked in. I mean, I know he putted it really well, but he doesn't have to put it well the next 3 days necessarily to win this thing. I mean, he shoots, what wins it? Like 15 under?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be this easy every day, right? Yeah, I would sign for 15 or 16.
So 3 under a day for him, and it's like he probably wins. And I think he can ball strike his way to 3 under a day from here on out. So I think he's a real problem. He played awesome. He hit it so good, and I felt like every time I looked up, he had an 8-footer that he was putting.
The cool part about the Olympics is, well, there's a couple of things. I cannot remember who said the quote or what sport it was from, but there was some athlete who said, it must have been from golf, because he said, there are a lot of people in my country who don't know what the Masters is, who don't know what the PGA Championship is, but they all know what the Olympics is.
Mm-hmm.
And so getting here is like really, really important, and trying to medal is really important. And I tie that back to Hideki, because I think Hideki has been an unbelievable ambassador of the game and an unbelievable ambassador for his country in this game. So when you get to combine that with everything else the Olympics brings, how cool it would have been for him to medal in Tokyo, and he was in that 7-way playoff. It didn't happen, but it would be very cool if he won the gold medal.
Yes, it would be awesome. And I think, I said this to Greg the other day, winning majors is a magnifying glass on the rest of your career. And I think because Hideki's won the Masters, like if let's say Fleetwood wins the gold, you're like, I mean, of course, like he can't win a major, so of course he wins a gold medal. That's tantamount to the American Express.
Right.
I don't think that's fair, but that's what people would say. But if you've won a major, then all of a sudden it magnifies everything else that you do. Now all of a sudden the gold medal is like, well, of course he won a gold. Like he's a major champion. And I think it matters for somebody like Hideki that he's won a Masters, and to add a gold medal to it would be really meaningful.
I agree. So I think there's a lot of really good stuff brewing here between Hideki and Xander. And geez, we're only 18 holes in, so you can go down as far down the board as you want and say they all still have a chance. Let's see what Vegas has to say about it. Well, who are they giving the chances to? And I imagine there's a couple of similar names at the top of the board. Xander Schauffele, the favorite, 3-1. Scottie Scheffler, 4-1. Hideki is 6.5 to 1. John Rahm and Rory McIlroy are 10 and 11, respectively. Joaquin Niemann is 12. Tom Kim is 18, and Tommy Fleetwood is 20 to 1.
This is for gold. This is to win.
This is to win. Yes.
I kind of like Rahm there. He was, and I mean this in a way that is like, I think it was a good thing. He was volatile on Thursday, both with his game and with his disposition. And I think when he made a lot of birdies, and he made 2 eagles on Thursday.
Yeah, he did.
He kind of lit it up. So I think it's easier just to clean up the stuff that he struggled with than to go out and find more birdies. I think he's playing really good golf, and doesn't mean he's going to beat Xander or Scottie, but he has the firepower to do it. 10 to 1. He's only 4 down to Hideki. I like that number more than the top 3.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting because if he doesn't hit what was probably a 9-iron, 20 yards off his line,
that was bad,
which he will never do again. That's 2 shots right there. He's 6 under, you know what I mean? And that's even with the other bogeys that he made. So I agree that I think Rahm's round, there is a ton of juice to squeeze out of. I think Hideki's a problem.
Yeah.
He's not going to gain 3 strokes around a putting every single round, but 6.5 to 1 with a 2-shot lead. I don't know, man. He's great at these types of events. I would be circling like the Hideki Rahm portion of the board here.
Do you like? Yeah, I agree with you. Do you like? Would you rather have? If somebody said you have $100, would you split it on Scheffler and Xander, or put it all on Hideki?
I would put it all on Hideki.
I think I would too.
There is a real chance that Scottie just never has the putting day.
Yep.
Right. And he just picks up a stroke putting and finishes 3rd.
T3.
Yeah, exactly. Gets into a playoff for bronze. And that's certainly possible. Xander's a little scarier.
Yeah. He looks so comfortable. Like he was lipping out like 25 footers all day. Like, oh my gosh.
He looks very in control, and he's also, 2 shots better and, all that stuff. But I still think Hideki too clear with the way that he hits it. And what we've seen him do when he's in a golf tournament, he's in it. Yeah. So I would probably put it on Hideki.
I think Xander's going to win, but I like, in terms of these numbers, I like Hideki and Rahm better.
Yeah.
Don't like Rory. I kind of like Tom Kim. I think that's intriguing at 18. I don't really, maybe
I know this is, I don't get into like the narrative stuff, but Tom Kim cannot try to win this if he can lock up a bronze.
I know. Right? Isn't that like, that'll be crazy, because think about the last 3 holes.
So much water.
Yes. Like 16, 18, to 17 have.
One of them in there does not.
I think 17 does not. But you're coming up 18, and oh my gosh, that'll like, if it's a tucked pin and you got water, it's like, oh, why didn't Tom Kim go for it? Oh yeah, because he's exempt from military status if he makes par here.
Right. Yeah, I'm a shot back from potentially getting into a playoff for gold, or if I dunk it in the water, I'm off the podium.
Yeah.
No. There's no chance you're going for it.
That would be so interesting.
Yeah. So I think that I would like to look at the Tom Kim to medal numbers, not the Tom Kim to win numbers.
Yes. I'd like to look at Tom Kim's heart rate if he has that shot.
Gosh, so good. All right. Well, listen, 18 holes in the books. We'll be back at it again, similar time, maybe a little bit earlier tomorrow, depending on what time this all wraps up. But no, tomorrow is our live show, is it not?
Is it? Network tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern.
Yes.
Is it me and you?
I think it is.
No, it's Rick. It's you, Mark, and Greg.
Oh, okay. So that is 2 p.m. Eastern on the network, CBS Sports Network. That time will not change because that's a live show. So that is locked in. And yeah, it'll be good. We'll have you covered for the rest of the week. For now, big thanks. Producer Josh does all the hard work behind the scenes. That right there. It's Kyle Porter. You can find him at Kyle Porter CBS. You can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.